Okay, good evening, everyone. Yeah, this video would be a recap on how to create our CBT. Our midterm is coming, and we need to, do one or two things. So this video will just be a recap. I've done video on how to create the CBT, so the computer-based test. Now, when we're creating the computer-based test, we have options to either create a multiple choice. Okay, one. Two, we can also create the true or false question that's going to require just two answers, either true or false. Okay. Thirdly, we can also create what we call the matching type of question. Okay, where you ask students to match which one is the correct answer, or to a particular, match two things together. Then we also have essay type of question and others. So when we want to create a multiple choice that require four options, where students have to choose one out of it, we can do that. So this video would just do a recap on that. So, and additionally, I'm going to create the matching type of question, so we have a feel of how to create the matching question. Some of our teachers may need this kind of question type. So quickly, this is my popular sociology course. Some of you are used to this. So what I need to do is to turn on editing. I need to add an activity. So as a reminder, the previous video I did, you can please check it out. I did a video on how to create your question bank and also how to do your question manually. Okay, so if you're watching this again, this should give you an idea on how to create the CBT type of question. So here I've opened my course. I'm going to click on add an activity or resources. So I'm going to click on quiz. I'm going to click on quiz. Okay, now I'm going to click on add. Okay, so for teachers that are just listening, name, you're going to give it a good name. You're going to give it a name. So I'm going to call this midterm exam. I'm going to call this midterm exam. Now, description, please give description. Is very important, because this quiz, even if I'm going to make this quiz open on a set date, this description, my students on their own dashboard, or they would see this quiz, but they would not be able to answer it. So they are prepared already that, oh, my quiz is coming on so day. So this description would make them prepare. For instance, look at this kind of description now. The mid-term exam is to be completed during week 7. Okay, anytime before the last day of the week at 11:55 p.m., which is equivalent to or 23:55 p.m. Okay, so having put that, I could also give another stuff here. Midterm is a 2-hour open book test. So allow yourself 2 hours of undisturbed time to complete these tests. Okay, so we could also give them further information. Only one attempt at this midterm test is allowed, so do not open until you are ready to take the test. Okay, so you could make this bold so they see it clearly. That is the point I want to emphasize. Okay, so you could also inform them that, okay, also, oh, the board is still on, I need to turn it off. Okay, once I'm done, you could say also ensure you read the message posted under the announcement area referring to testing. Okay, okay. Now, it is very important you want to display this description on their course page. So even if they are not attempting the quiz yet and they are seeing it every day, all they need to do is to read, do you know how students will be? They want to prepare and have this information. So I'm not going to take much. I've done this in a previous video. When is the quiz going to be open? You put the date by enabling this button. So the quiz is going to be open from 27, okay, and the quiz is going to close giving how many days, maybe 29, okay, of that same. So also you can take your time to give time into. Okay, now time limits. Now don't forget, I've always told us to use this question, this help, to know what this means. So time limits is going to be stated on the quiz, so the student know how many time they have to complete the quiz. Okay, so time limit I'm going to give, you can put your limits in minutes, in hours, in days. Okay, so I'm giving just let's say 2 hours, for instance. Okay, now when time expires, what happened? I've always told us, let's use the open attempt to be submitted automatically. But let me use opportunity to explain this. So this second one says there is a grace period when open attempts can be submitted, but no more question answered. So if a student have open question down to, maybe you have 30 question, he or she is on question 25. So don't forget, he or she has opened from 1 to 25, but he has not opened from 26 to 30. Okay, so when your time expires, now if you use this option, the system, okay, you can say I'm having this grace period because I chose the second option. So the computer will ask you to put how many grace do you want to give this person. So if I'm giving this person a grace of 15 minutes, okay, this student will have 15 minutes to submit any open attempt, but he or she will not be allowed to answer any more questions. So those 5 questions would not be allowed him. Okay, but all those other questions that he has opened already, he could go back, change them, and he has grace time to submit. That's what the second option, okay, is all about. Then the third one says attempt must be submitted before time expire, period. So let me assume I use the second one just for sake of this video. Then for grade, for those of us watch the tutorial, the video on grade, so assume you have a category. Assume teachers have created category, because for instance this is midterm exam, so it's assumed that you've created different categories for them. So any student answering this question or this my quiz will go under the exam. There is not supposed to be under the exam, sorry, but it's assumed that you ought to have created the category. So I ought to have created a category called midterm, so that's where this one would be. But since I don't have a midterm category, I'm just going to use exams, no problem. So grade to pass, like I said, would enable you to set the minimum, okay, that a student would have before this course is marked as pass. Then anybody that gets below that, let's say I'm using a 60, so if this quiz is 100 and this person gets 60 above, then that will be pass, and anything below 60 will be fail. So the computer finds a way to differentiate. That's just the essence of this. So anything above 60 will be highlighted in green, okay? Then anything below 60 will be in red. So, but it's not necessary, don't worry. Now, attempts allowed, because this is an invigilated exam that is going to be graded, not the ones you just give your students on a normal day where you want them to just to test, to play with and understand a concept. This is a recorded exam, so there's no how you want to give unlimited, so it's going to be one attempt, okay? So there is no unlimited. So for layout, the behavior of the question, or the layout of the question, I mean, this is usually one question on one page. You could make it two questions on one page, or never all questions on one page. So every question one page. So I could show more. Navigation method will be free. The difference is if you make it free, students could go even far than where they are, okay? So if a student is on number 1, a student could freely navigate to question 25 and come back to question 1 and continue with 2 or 3. But if you put it on sequential, then the student must go sequentially. You can't jump, okay? So leave it on free. Question behavior, shuffle within question. Yes, the question needs to be shuffled so that if you are giving multiple attempts and a student sees this as question A, maybe option A is boy, option B is girl. So when they are attempting the question again, option A will be girl, option B will be boy. So it just shuffles the question. So a student and another student will not have the same option, in the same order. Okay. Now, how question behave? So we should leave it on deferred feedback. So it's after they finished, after they finished their question, or they've submitted their CBT or quiz, that's when their feedback will be shown to them. So not when they are still answering the question. No. So we'll leave it on deferred. Now, review option. So this review option, though I've been telling us to leave it, but when the students are attempting the quiz, what should they see? Okay, if you click on this question mark, it helps you to understand all this. Now look at this. On this first one, whether the student can review the attempt at all. Yes, once they finish their question, they can review the attempt. Okay, fine. So you leave this check. Even by default, you can't even change it. You notice you can't change all this. It's set by default, so they don't know. But this second one could be changed. Now, immediately after the attempt, so the attempt, just like this has told us whether the student can review. So during the attempt, fine. But immediately after the attempt, you have options like the attempt, yes. So clicking on this, whether correct or not. So later, while the quiz is still open, they could see the attempt. They can whether it is correct or not, and different reviews. Then for the last one, when the quiz is closed, can they see the attempt here? Now, sometimes I might decide to remove all this here when the quiz is closed, because if you still leave it there, students maybe use their phone to screenshot all those answers. So for security reason, after the quiz is closed, you don't want them to have access to all these questions, whether they are correct or not, so they don't snap it and send to their friend. So I want to leave all this removed. I don't want them to see anything. Even I don't want them to see the attempt after the quiz is closed. Okay, so that's that. But for this, the attempt will be there. Yes, do you understand? So after the quiz is closed, they don't see everything. Now for this, I hope you understand. Later, while the quiz is still open, so the quiz is still open, they can see the attempts. And now for appearance, okay, you could leave this or if you want, you could display their image, maybe small picture, you could show more. Now, extra restriction on attempt. Do you need a password? Fine, you don't need. Overall feedback. Now you could put overall feedback for 100%. What do you want to put there? You could just say, okay, after the quiz, a general review would be done. Okay, are you with me now? Or you just want to say, okay, when you get 100%, I would just say, okay, fantastic or fantabulous, fantastic. Okay, something like that. So take your time, be creative. Then you could leave all these other ones, no problems. Now, common module access. Show course page. Yes, show on course page, ID number. I'll explain that later. Group mode. Now, activity completion. We already know this. We could leave it on manual so students can manually mark it, or we show activity when the completions are met. Okay. Now, what else again? Once you're done, you click on save and display. So once I'm done with this save and display, it takes me to the next page. You can see this information. So if you don't put description, students will get confused on what to do, and that is when we start getting calls from them. What should I do? But when you give them detailed instruction here, then they don't have any reason to call you. Remember, we gave one attempt, not unlimited. So it's going to tell them. It's also going to tell them that the quiz will not be available until that set date and their time limit. Now, where is the question? So that's where I'm going to go to edit quiz. As a teacher now, this is the next phase we are entering. So that first phase is to design the container, like I've always said. But this second phase is where you will now be adding your question. So if you have your questions already in your question bank, you can just pick from your question bank. But if you don't have them in your question bank, what do? You just start typing them manually. Okay, so when I click on add, I'm going to use three options: either new question, which I'm going to do now, or you use the question bank, which will assume you have your question which you have imported. I've done a video on that before, so watch that video on how to create your banks. So the advantage of bank is at a time like this, when you need question, you don't need to start cracking your brain or racking your brain. All you need to do is just to go to the question like this, question bank, and you pick from here. Look at, if you had imported thousands or hundreds of questions, you just pick from here. So I'm not going to pick from question bank. I'm going to click on add a new question. Okay, just to show us. Now these are the types of question I told us. Now for multiple choice question, you know what that means. It allows the selection of a single or multiple response from a predefined list. So when you click on any of the question here, it gives you an idea of what that question type is. So true or false, it's just two answers. It's either it is true or it is false. For multiple choice, you create the question, you give 4 or 5 options or 6 options, then the student could choose just 1 or 2 that's correct there. Okay, then matching type of question, the answers to each of a number of sub-question must be selected from a list of possibilities. So this video will be long if I should explain all this. So I'm just going to do one multiple choice for people that are new to creating a multiple choice. So the question name has nothing to do with anything. It's not showing, it's not displayed to the student. It's just what the computer saves your question as. So you could use it as the same question I'm going to give here, for instance. So what's my question? Let's say my question will be 2 plus 2. Okay, so it seems 2 plus 2. Are you with me now? So what's the question? Default mark is going to be 1. If you wanted 2 questions, for no problem, or 2 marks for the question. Now only one answer, yes, only one answer is allowed. You could allow multiple answer, but that would be for another day. So one single answer. Then what's the choice? You could have 4 or 6. Another choice could be 4, and any of the choice that is the correct answer, you are going to change the grade to 100%. So that's how the system knows that that is the correct answer. Okay, then for the ones that are not the correct answer, you leave them on at none. Okay, so computer would know that this is wrong because 2 plus 2 is not 6. So if you want a general like a feedback for this person that got it correctly, you say, oh, you got it correct. Oh, you got it correctly. Okay. Okay, so just do that. Now, if you have third option, you could say 8, and you leave it at none. You may necessarily not put feedback. So if it's just 3 options, no problem. Leave all the blanks, and all you need to do is just submit. This means you want your options to be to have bullets of either capital letter A or small letter A. So it makes no difference. So shuffle the choices. So this is where the computer would be, or the system would shuffle the question. So if initially 6 or the correct answer was on choice 2, when they are attempting it next, or the second student will not see it as question 2, would perhaps see it as question or choice 3. Okay, so that's what it means. So once I'm done, you click on save and continue editing. If you click on save changes, you are done with this. But if you click on save and continue editing, then this system can give you a room to preview your question and show you how it will look like when the students are answering it. So I'm going to click on save changes and continue editing. So once it's saved, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to see another option that says preview. This wasn't there initially until I clicked on save changes and brought me back here. So if I click on preview now once a student clicks on this and gives the correct answer 4 and says submit and finish. Why I'm saying submit and finish is because I'm only having one question. So you could see it now. Look at the feedback I gave. Oh, you got it correctly. Your answer is correct. Do you understand? So that's that. I could preview it as a teacher while I'm making the question. So once I'm done with the final editing, I click on save changes. So I'm done with question 1. So please, it might be rigorous in you doing your question one after the other. Okay, now another thing lest I forgot, is the maximum grade. So if this thing is going to have like 10 questions, maybe you want to assume that this would be 10 maximum. So quickly, let me add another type of question which I said I must cover in this video, which is called matching question. So in matching question, you ask the student to match options or questions with the right answer. So it's more or less like the normal multiple choice I just did now, but quite different. Now you give it a question name, like I've always told you. So what the question name? I could say, okay, classical, because the question what I want to ask is about music. I'm going to say classical music matching. Okay, so it's not going to be shown to the student. This is for the system. Now the question itself, this is where you are putting the general question. So I'm saying match the composer with the era of music in which they wrote music. Okay, so with that, now what's the default mark? Now because I'm going to be asking them 3 questions in this, like as you're going to see shortly, I'm going to make the mark 3. So if the matching is maybe 4 questions or 5 questions, then I'm going to make my default mark 5. So I'm going to put this 3, and you know why I'm putting 3 here? Because I'm going to give them 3 matching questions. Now you scroll down, and this is where you are giving them the question itself. This question you see me that I put here is just the description or what I want to ask them to do. You understand? The main question is now here now. Now, what is the first question? Now, the first question is, okay, this particular composer, J.S. Bach, which era, just like I've asked, look at the question earlier, match the composer with the era in which the music. So now, which composer am I matching with the era of their music? So this is the composer and this is the era of the music. So now, don't forget, this doesn't mean that this is the answer. Okay, if this is the answer and this student picks this, then he got it correctly. But if this is not the answer and he picks this, is wrong. So me putting this here doesn't mean that this is the answer for this. Get it right. Now, question 2. Let's say, for those that understand music, Wolfgang Mozart. Now, which era? Definitely, I think is in the classical era. Okay. Then question 3. This other composer with Frederick Chopin. I think this is romantic. Now, don't forget, you want to confuse the student. So we're going to make some other distractions or distractors. Read this option very well. It said you must provide at least 2 questions and 3 answers. That means 2 questions, 3 answers. So one question match one question, another question match another question. Then that third answer without a question might be the distractor. That will be the distractor. So the student will not know which one to choose. They are not only saying 2 answers, 2 questions, because they know that, oh, this is just the answer to this, the answer to this. But if there's a third answer without a question, then that will confuse them again. So it makes it easier. So they're telling you here that it will make sense when you create 2 questions and 3 answers. Now, another layer is you could also provide extra wrong answers by giving an answer with a blank question. Are you with me now? So entries where both the question and answers are blank will be ignored. So I'm going to add 2 other distractors. I'm going to add 2 other distractors. Do you understand? Please, if you, I said this earlier, this is the question and this is the answer for this, because when it's displayed for the student to answer, it's not going to show them like this. So sorry for the previous write-up or statement I made. So you are given the question, and you are given the right answer to that question. So when it's displayed for the student will have to pick from the list of options. So the 2 other answers I want to put now, they are called distractors. I'm not going to put any question because this answer is not correct actually. So I'm going to call this the medieval. Don't forget, leave the question blank. So any answer you put without the question is regarded as a wrong answer, like what they've told us here. You could provide extra wrong answers by giving an answer with a blank question. So the other distractor I'm creating is, let's say, 20th century. Okay, now no answer. Okay, no question, sorry. So once you're done, all you need to do is to do what? Save and continue editing. So once you're done, don't forget, you scroll down and you could preview your question, so you have an idea of how the student would view your question. Okay, so I'm going to click on preview. So now take a look at how it's going to show to the student. Match the composer with the era of music they compose. Now the first one says this guy, so the student will see and be confused. Oh, what should I choose here? So if I'm guessing, I don't know what to choose. Wolf, was it classical music guy? Okay, let me try. Frederick Chopin, that will be romantic Okay, then this guy would be in the Baroque period. So don't forget, mark out of it's 3 mark. Remember, I gave 3 marks. So because this guy or this student will get 3 marks for this if he got it correctly. So what I'm going to do is to click on, or let me mistakenly. I'm going to submit and finish. You see now, I got 2 out of 3, and it's telling me your answer is partially correct. You have correctly selected 2. The correct answer is Mozart, this, this, this. Do you understand? So that's how it is. I'm running out of time. I'm going to end this now. Thank you. Now when you're done, finally you click on save changes. So your quiz is now ready for your students to view. So I've only added 2. I added a matching type of question and I added a multiple choice. Okay, so you could feel free to add more, add more and choose either short answer and the rest. Thank you and see you.